This is the Manchester Football Social. Full-Time Devils Takeover.
Yeah, we are back. This is the Full-Time Devils fan phone-in on XS Manchester. Here for the next hour. Myself, Adam, Joe, and Gaz.
All right,
here
lads.
bringing you all the latest on Manchester United. And of course, the international break is over. Praise the Lord. Praise Eric. Praise all of them. It is over. And we are talking, of course, previewing Crystal Palace and looking ahead to the January transfer window, which is on the horizon, and asking you guys at home, should Glazers show Jose the money? Joe, how can they call in?
Very simple, 0345 111 7625. Get on the phones. If you're watching on YouTube, that number will be scrolling across the video for the entire thing. Get the calls in now because it is a massive bang. We want to speak to you.
And Gaz is on the comments as well. So if you're watching,
be nice to Gaz.
I am all over the YouTube comments. A lot of opinions coming in earlier. Some people saying, do not give this man any more money. Name one signing for Jose that's been amazing for us. He's already spent 400 million. A lot of negative comments towards Jose already.
Oh, it's hopefully not going to be the tone of the show.
Hopefully
Because
not.
although I've had my complaints, I do like people to make me feel hopelessly
excited about the future.
Even though this season tells me I shouldn't be. But I like a little bit of delusion in my life. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Call up and make Adam deluded.
Yeah.
Yes, get on it. We're also talking Chris Smalling because it's his birthday today. Happy birthday to Chris Smalling and Marwan Fellaini. And apparently Chris Smalling is getting a new contract.
Is he what, for his birthday?
Well, it seems like a birthday present because there's no other reason he should get it.
I get something completely different.
We'll be talking about that as well. We'll be talking about Patrice Evra and what did he do to that turkey?
Poor turkey.
If we've not seen this video yet, this video of Patrice Evra and his usual manic self on Instagram. He does these wacky videos every Monday, but he uploaded one the other day which was just disturbing.
We're generally worried about his health, aren't we? Because it's not good to eat a bit of raw turkey.
Well, basically, he's there with this raw turkey sat in front of him, and he is essentially getting off with the turkey.
It is. He is definitely making love to that game.
We asked
a little bit of poultry-based banter there for you, but anyway. We are going to get onto the topic of Jose Mourinho getting more money in January. And we've got a few calls already coming through.
It's going to be a busy show.
Shall we get stuck into them? Because remember, the callers are the guests this week. Line 1, we got Maf. He says Mourinho's not the right man for United.
Hello, Maf.
Hello there, you alright, guys?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Future Full-Time Devils, what do you want to say?
I just want to say I don't think Jose Mourinho is the right manager for Manchester United.
What a way to start the show.
I'm sorry, but you know what? I actually agree with a lot of the things that Adam says in the show because I watch the show quite a lot. It's like so many excuses have been made for Jose Mourinho. Like it's not to do with signings. The reason why we're 8th and below Bournemouth, Watford have a -1 negative, -1 goal difference. It's not to do with signings. It's just to do with coaching wise. I think he was a great manager, but I don't think he's good anymore. And I also don't think he's never ever been. He's been a great defensive coach, and even that's gone down the toilet now.
Matt, can I ask you something there? You say that it's more to do with his coaching of the team, but in the summer he wanted centre halves. He made that very clear that he wanted defenders. The board didn't go out and get them. So do you honestly think that there is a coach out there that could make the likes of Smalling, Jones, Lindelof and Bailly into a world-beating defence?
He did buy Bailly and Lindelof, and we did spend huge money on them. We saw them as potentials for the future, etc. He did spend big money on them, but I think if a different coach came in, I think definitely Bailly, there's something to work with there, and there's someone else. But Lindelof, he's been playing well, but I don't think he's good enough personally. Smalling, I think he's a squad player at best. Jones, he needs to go. Rojo, he needs to go. I think one of the centre half he should have never sold was Daley Blind. I thought whenever Daley Blind played, we actually the defence was much better than it is right now. I think Daley Blind.
I feel like Daley Blind, though, a lot of the games that you got under Van Gaal, of course, we played a very defensive system where him and Chris Smalling looked like world beaters, but I think we all knew they weren't. From
the coaching perspective, and to touch on something Math mentioned, the frustrating thing for us is, whilst I agree with Jose Mourinho, he should have been back, he should have had more money for centre-halves, I also disagree with him in the manner that he almost tossed aside Eric Bailly, as we're seeing at the moment. He's doing that with a lot of players where you can work on things with those players. We've seen with Eric Bailly, at times he's been our best centre-half. So surely there's something to work on there. Exactly. And it almost feels like he just cuts the tyres and he's just like, I've given up with this guy. And it happens too quickly.
I'm not disagreeing at all. I think that there's something to work with Lindelof as well. I don't think he's a lost cause. I think he's a player with a lot of potential who I don't think you'd put it out the window for him to be a United starter one day. He's not there yet.
So,
but
what I'm going to ask you then, so say Mourinho got, I mean, it's very hard to think about this, but say Mourinho got the centre-backs he wanted and the defensive strength that he wanted.
Thanks for your call, Matt.
Thanks, Matt. Where do you think we'll be now then? Do you think we'll be in top four? Do you think we're still fighting for the league? Because this is Mourinho's top excuse. So say he didn't have this excuse, where would he be? Where would we be now?
He'd have a different excuse.
He'd have a different excuse, wouldn't he? He would have a different excuse. That's what I'm getting at. Maybe this isn't. It's the big excuse this whole season. That's what we keep referring back to. But if we actually did get a centre back, you know, who's to say we wouldn't still be in the position that we are in?
You know what's frustrating as well, and I've used this as an example before. When you looked at Liverpool under Jurgen Klopp, you looked at them and you thought they need a centre half. They need a goalkeeper. If they have those things, they'd be a very good team. When you look at Manchester United, you almost think, I don't know where the problem lies, because it seems so many problems. And like,
yeah, I get it.
It's not, doesn't just look like United need a centre half. It looks like we need so much more, and it shouldn't be the way, because I think we're better than we're seeing on the pitch at the moment. And we're going to go to Asif now, who's talking about the recruitment and the board all wrong. We need new defenders, I think he's saying.
Hi guys, how's it going?
Yeah, very well, mate.
Good, mate.
Yeah, I'm just saying that, you know, obviously Mourinho's not playing great football. We all know that. We've had moments, we've had highlights where we beat Man City, we beat Liverpool. He's progressed throughout. People forget he took over a damaged Man United. He didn't take over the title-winning United. He took over a team that had like Moyes, Van Gaal, lots of players coming and going. He had to get rid of a lot of players, and he won the Europa League, he won the League Cup, then he went second in the second season. I know it's a mile behind Man City, but we finished above Spurs and Liverpool that the media were raving about. But Mourinho didn't get that credit, and then he wants more players in the summer. The board don't back him. What happens? Our season has gone like so messed up, it's unbelievable. We should have been, if he would have got who he wanted, we would have been challenging for the title. And
do you believe that though? Do you think we would believe that? How close we would be to City? Do you think we'll be challenging for the title if we got them defenders?
I think a player like Toby Alderweireld.
What if the players he bought in were just didn't work for him, like Bailly didn't, like Lindelof didn't?
But the thing is, you can't say what if to the manager. You either back him or you sack him. You cannot say we're giving you a new contract in January and then in summer say, oh, you want these players? No, actually the ones at the club are better. What is that all about? Who's making the decisions? And we all know Ed Woodward and these are not football geniuses.
Definitely know.
How can you say to the manager, you can't buy these players? And now they're saying, oh, in January they're going to back him.
Like what you're saying there, I agree with in a sense about the fact that he's not been back this summer. However, it's what Adam keeps saying when people keep asking him why you're so negative. We're 8th in the league.
Yeah, and
he should be doing better.
I do hear that frustration.
I hear that frustration, and his actual record when you look back at it, like he says, then won the Europa League, won the League Cup, then finished second, isn't actually too bad. But we should be in a better position than where we are. And in fact, I mean, we can say the lack of investment the summer just gone, but at times before that, you spent an awful lot at Manchester United.
Look at Spurs didn't make any signings at all. We finished above them last season. We made signings, and we haven't got better, and it is frustrating. And one of the things that you look at as a big problem for United has been our home form. 8 games this season. We've only won 3. We've lost against Juventus, Spurs and Derby. We've drawn against Wolves at home as well.
We're minus goal difference as well.
It's very damning. We've not been here since, what was it, the 70s? 60s?
Late 70s.
Something crazy like that. So there are problems at the club, but I totally heard the frustration in Asif's voice.
Yeah.
And I would understand why Mourinho would be frustrated if you've got someone like Ed Woodward telling you Smalling is better than Alderweireld.
Can you imagine Ed Woodward turning around and telling Jose Mourinho he's wrong about football?
Exactly. That's why I can totally appreciate that the board haven't backed the manager properly. But then I don't agree with the manager just throwing his toys out of the pram and at the start of the season saying it's going to be a bad season, because there's so much to be positive about in our team. There is.
I know there is, but what they're saying, the cause is saying, there's nothing positive about our defence.
There isn't. Apart from Luke Shaw.
Yeah.
Maybe Diego Dalot.
Well, there you go. You said a name there, though. I mean, as much as we can criticise Jose's man management, Luke Shaw, a player who's gone through it and come out the back a better player.
Can I just bring this back, though, as well? We're not just talking about the defence here today, guys. We are talking about January transfer window. On the whole, it's on the horizon. Which players are going to be coming? Which players are going to be going? If any, should the board back Jose Mourinho? We want your calls on that topic. Gaz has got some comments from YouTube as well, I believe.
Yeah, Tappy says it's not all Mourinho. Mourinho can't control Rashford's shooting or Lukaku missing sitters. I completely agree with that, but maybe it is to do with their mentality, and their mentality is something that Jose can obviously influence. Let's see any other comments. Another one by Tappy says, but the majority of it is Mourinho and the board. They are the ones mainly at fault. There's an awful lot of comments here. One from Ignition and a couple more as well.
Ignition.
All about your shirt, mate.
About your shirt.
Everyone's raving.
Do you know what? I like it. It's a lovely shirt.
It's an unreal
Head on YouTube
shirt.
if you're listening on XS Manchester. You'll be able to see the very colourful shirt. And if you are listening or if you are watching, give us a call 0345 111
Feels like we're on Balamori in this.
Sorry,
Just about this what?
Well then,
that would have gone down really well. Right, should we go to another caller? Is it Che?
Shay.
Che?
Hello.
Are you good, mate? You're through to Full Time Devils on XS Manchester. What do you want to say?
I just wanted to talk about really like the January transfer window, and also about like management, that from the board and downwards. So what I wanted to say was basically, Adam, a bit like what you were saying on the debate yesterday with regarding the players. How we, how about we're not really getting the best out of our best players like Sanchez, Lukaku. And I just feel like with the transfer window, I feel like, is there really much point getting in new players if that's just going to happen to them?
Gaz?
What did you say, mate? Sorry, mate. I was reading a comment. I was reading a very. I was reading a very interesting comment here from Timothy about the defenders and him questioning Jose's limited
Timothy,
knowledge.
give us a call.
What Shay said was, is there any point buying any players in January? Because remember the debate we had yesterday where I kind of said, is there any point buying players that may not be here in 6 months or a new manager may not want?
Well, as long as that. The thing is, I hope that in January now we've actually been looking at players and scouting players throughout the season, hopefully, and we don't just go out for a player because, for example, Manchester City are interested in them. I don't care what anyone says. That's why we went for Sanchez. We got Sanchez so City wouldn't get him, and that one didn't go well at all. January transfer window. It's always an hard one, though, isn't it?
Shay, would you potentially put on hold all transfer business until we got a director of football in?
I don't know, because I feel like even with that, I feel a bit, if we've got a director of football, are we still going to have this problem with the Glazers and the money? Do you know what I mean? I feel like, is it going to be somebody else who's going to have this constant battle with them, plus the manager? You see what I mean? And I feel like as well, the whole debate with Jose going in or going out, I feel a bit like, is there much point getting another manager if we're just going to have the same result with the board?
Isn't that what Ed Woodward did with our defence?
It is a good point though. We all go on here about wanting a new manager because he's not gone out and got the right players, but it's not the manager's decision which players he goes for anymore.
But then there's to a certain extent, if you're not gonna back Jose Mourinho with money. Because I say this, look, Jose Mourinho is a fantastic manager, but he is very much a checkbook manager. He needs that checkbook to be open. And if that checkbook isn't open, is there any point in having Jose Mourinho? Do you maybe need a different type of manager? Which is a whole different kind of worms, because that is then going into what Manchester United's aims and objectives are off the pitch with the owners and stuff like that.
This summer just gone, it didn't feel like the checkbook wasn't open. It just felt like the checkbook would only be opened for, and I've said this loads of times here, but it would only be open for a player that was a commercial sort of star. You know what I mean? It's like I've been saying the reason that we didn't go for a defender is because there aren't many massively, advertisable sort of defenders around at the moment.
Well, Devil's Advocate would say that maybe the board don't trust Jose with the names he throws at them because they've spent 30-40 million on players that just haven't
But
done
then,
well.
like we say, and I've said before, if you do not trust your manager, why is the point in all of this?
Get rid.
It's that, and that's how I feel the board at the moment are. Like, I feel like the board are looking at him and like almost waiting for him to mess up enough so they can sack him, or they're waiting for him to perform miracles so then they can say, "Oh yeah, you deserve the money now." And it's kind of like you need to meet somewhere in the middle. You need to sit down with him and kind of like, what are our long-term objectives? Does he fit in with your plan? Do you fit in with his plan? Because it might not be a case.
This is the problem though with United at the moment, isn't it? We don't have a plan in any aspect of how we're organising anything. We don't have any actual sort of transfer philosophy. We don't actually have a philosophy with how we play on the pitch. Bit of a mess.
It is a mess.
It is. We're going to take one more call and we've got to go to a break. So line 2, please. Now I can't read it from here.
Kushik from Seattle.
Sorry.
In the
Hello,
big
mate. You okay?
I love Seattle.
Never been. Kushik.
Hello.
Hello, mate.
Hey. Hi guys, how are you?
Very well,
very
thank
good,
you.
Mate.
Happy Thanksgiving. Hey.
Hi. Thank you. Same to you. And I'm a big fan of Full-Time Devils.
Legend. Get into your point, Kushik. We're limited for time today. I hear you want to talk about Jose Mourinho and giving him more time and more money.
Yeah, I think Jose should be given a year more. I'll tell you the reasons why. So when he came to United, probably the squad was not in a position where it could win the league. He shipped out a lot of players, and if you look at the players that he shipped out, most of them are not playing at the highest level. And he brought in a lot of players, but if you see the amounts of funds he was given was limited. When he signed Paul Pogba for 90 million that year, we signed only 4 players, and Zlatan was on a free. And the next year he was given 3 players that he signed, and then the third year he signed 2 players. So I know that he has signed a lot of players, but if you look, last year we finished second with 82 points. We were not at our best, but a lot of times we scored a lot of goals, and I saw the team progressing really well. This year, I agree that Jose shouldn't have done a lot of things like he did, but I think that he's still a great manager, and with the amount of competition that we have in the league, I think we should back Jose. And also, I see that in the past few weeks or few months, he has been trying to evolve his style. So I think for a manager of his stature, we have to give him another year to see if he can win something for us. I think we are in a position where we have to win.
Sorry, mate, don't want to interrupt, but you said give him another a year. So what position do we have to be in May for you to agree that we should get rid of him?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think we have to be in top 4. It's not acceptable that he can finish out of top 4 with this squad, because with the exact same squad, he finished second last year. So there is no other reason rather than man management of why we should finish out of top 4. If he gets the players playing the right way, I think we can get into the top 4. And if he can win something like a cup, it would be a bonus, but I wouldn't be too worried about it. But next year is the year where we have to go and revamp all the backline, except I would say Luke Shaw, Bailly and Lindelof.
and we have to buy a couple of centre backs and a right back and probably a left back. We have to revamp the entire backline like Guardiola did in his first year. He went and spent like 100.
Yeah, Cusack, thank you very much for your call.
I agree.
Right, we're going to have to take a
Some
quick
very
break.
good calls today. Thank you, everyone, for calling in. Sorry if you have to rush you a little bit.
Niall and Lee, we're going to get to you very soon. Right, Marouane Fellaini is 31 today. Which club has he scored the most goals against in his time at Manchester United? That is the question you've got to answer whilst we take a very quick break.
This is the Manchester Football Social. Full-time Devils takeover.
We're back. This is the Full-Time Devils fan phone-in. I am Adam McCall. I'm with Joe and Gaz. We're back for another part of the show, and I was just speaking without my mic on them because Joe is absolutely inept.
I want the limelight. Right, before we went to the break, I asked you about Marouane Fellaini. Happy birthday, Fellaini. Which club has he scored the most goals against in his time at United? What have we all gone for?
We both went for the same team straight away.
Who?
Man City.
But then we haven't put any more thought into it.
Right, well,
we got to 2 goals against City.
It is the weekend's opponents, Crystal Palace. 3 goals in 8 appearances.
And I celebrated one with him.
Ran on the pitch like an idiot.
Well,
allegedly,
anyone.
Gaz. Allegedly.
Well done for anyone who got in touch. Make sure you also give us a call, by the way. 0345 111 7625. We need some more callers. Get your
That's when times were bad and we were celebrating finishing in the top 4. Jeez.
Well, mate, we'll be back there in May. If we finish top 4 in May, I'm going on a parade around the city.
Hiring that bus out.
You and Jose with his 3 fingers up.
Yeah, do give us a call. 0345 111 7625. We'll talk
Agenda.
We're back.
Chat. Should we go to Niall, our first caller?
By the way, we also want everyone's thoughts on Chris Smalling, who's getting a new contract, apparently.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone's got loads of opinions about Chris Smalling's new contract, so call in with them.
Niall wants to talk about the January window.
Hello, Niall.
Hiya, you
How
alright?
do you, mate? Sorry for your hold. What do you want to say about the January transfer window?
Right, so people always talk about, we can improve something in January, or we can do this and that. But, as people said before, they never really work. Apart from, players like Vidic and Evra, they're rare cases, because otherwise, what other January players have we bought who have really worked and improved our season?
Apart from Juan Mata.
I mean, to be fair, it was very easy to improve that season, wasn't it? He took us from 8th to 7th.
I was just playing around because I know what YouTube comments are like.
So do you think, Niall, if you were in charge, you wouldn't do anything, would you? Or what would be your tactic?
Well, for one, I'd probably play a different style of football, because at the moment, under Mourinho...
Is that the first one? That's point 1. Let's play different football.
Because whoever we do sign, for starters, we've got the players more than good enough to be doing better than 8th. Let's be real. We've got great attacking players who do well for their country, in the World Cup, whatever international break they've been on. And then when it comes back to here, you see players just clearly not doing as well as they do. For example, Pogba goes from scoring in World Cup finals and stuff like that to being questioned every week when he plays for United. So there's a common thing with Mourinho and players coming back to United, that they just don't do as well as when they're under other managers and other teams.
Adam's done his deep breath in.
No, I was just thinking, because we had a debate on the channel recently this week, and it was a similar debate. Should we get anyone in January? And my opinion was no. Unless it's a experienced centre half, no, because we're likely going to end up signing players that probably aren't great. And 2, if Jose isn't here in 6 months, what if the manager doesn't want them?
Because that's more money wasted, and we'll just be in a similar position.
Yeah. Cheers for your call, Niall. Make sure you give us a call, 0345 111 7625.
We're going worldwide.
We're going around the globe in a sec. Oh, sorry.
There's a few transfer shouts on YouTube. Flex and Flex says, I think Benatia is an amazing shout. And also quite a few people saying Koulibaly, a player that came up.
Koulibaly would be mint.
Yeah, I don't know how you pronounce his name, but yeah, he's a player that I only know about through 6-second clips on Twitter, and he looks mint.
You've only seen that clip where he pushed his teammate.
You can do a lot.
I've seen various different clips.
I love Gaz.
And he's good on my FIFA career. So
Gaz works on a football channel and will happily tell you he hasn't got a clue. I love it. There's other people that are just
Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. How many hours have you spent watching Napoli this season, Adam?
Yeah, go on, Adam.
Unfortunately, bet on Italian football sometimes. Do not bet.
Responsibly.
You do well.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Should we go around the globe? Should we go to Sri Lanka and speak to Richard?
We're going worldwide.
Hello, Richard.
How are you guys doing?
Yeah, very well, mate. You're through to the Full-Time Devils. What do you want to say?
Well, first of all, Adam, you're looking very good. You looks like Akon's younger brother in that shirt.
He does, yeah. He's rocking that vibe. I like it.
Yeah, it looks nice. Anyway, what I want to say is about Mourinho. Shall we reduce on the Mourinho hate for a moment? Because basically, if you have to look at his situation in United, he's like walked into a bad marriage with 30 kids, right? The father's left. The previous father was thrown out of the house, and now he's got really funny kids that he needs to sort out.
Really funny kids.
Stepdad syndrome.
He's got one kid who's like really good at maths. That's Mata. He's got one who likes to experiment in the lab. That's Pogba. But my problem is he looked at all these 30 kids and he then went and asked the club, hey, who's that kid over there in the yard? Which one? The tall one with the funny hair? Oh, yeah, that kid's useless. He just elbows the neighbor's kids. And he went, that one is my kid. See, that's the problem. Mourinho needs to sort his head out and treat all the players the same.
Okay.
And stop complaining.
So do you think that Mourinho...
Do you think he needs... Yeah, go on then.
Do you think that he has favourite players then? That you
favourite
think
kids.
he has favourite kids?
He absolutely has favourite players. And the second kid he likes is like, what's the other tall kid? Oh, he's the one who gets tired very often. Oh, Matic. Oh, I like that kid too.
Who's on the naughty step for you then, Richard? Do you think...
He needs to stop favouring these guys, and he needs to understand when the board put him in a tight situation, at the end, Martial came through for him. He's the one who's saving him right now. Lindelof is playing much better than all our defenders. So, in a way, the board has proven that if you give enough games, if you train them, if you coach them, and you drill them into a particular system, and there's consistency, these players can perform at least to the level where you can get into the top 4 consistently.
Richard, then, so the rumours that Chris Smalling might get another contract, does that make you happy? Because you think he's going to grow into a better player? Speechless.
Let's just say not as a third choice or a fourth choice, yeah.
I mean, what, he's asking for, 120 grand a week? That's not...
We've got a lot of players as well there.
Right, we can hear ourselves. Sorry, Richard. Thank you very much for your call there, mate. We just started to hear ourselves.
Can I just say,
Here we go.
Go on.
Chris Smalling getting a new contract isn't a horrible decision in and of itself. The problem lies in him playing so much and starting every week because he's not good enough.
Yeah.
But it just shows where our problems are. Chris Smalling, if he signs a new contract, will be in line for a testimonial at Manchester United. I've never seen someone play a testimonial and they're still considered potential.
It's mad, isn't it?
Someone help me here. How can you have a testimonial and you still haven't fulfilled your potential?
And the thing is, we've got so many players like that in the team that, as Richard just said then, players that would be great as third or fourth choice players in that position.
For Bradford.
but they're starting.
Yeah, and they're getting good money as well.
They're starting and getting good money. And I'm like, who is making the decisions on what these are paid?
I can understand it though, because we can't, Smalling, is awful most of the time. But in that bad bunch has been someone that's been more reliable than the others. So I can kind of understand it, because you can't get rid of 6 players all at once and just replace them all. But remember what we said yesterday? Bailly might go in January. Well, and that is a big problem.
Yeah.
How can we be letting our best players go?
We said this yesterday. We had a debate of which players we'd like to get rid of in January. A lot of people said Phil Jones, but let's face it, it's more likely that Eric Bailly would leave in January because of some ridiculous falling out that he's had with the manager.
No. Should we go to Tim in South London?
Yes. He's sounds like he's talking sense.
Hello, Tim.
Hello, mate. You right, guys?
Yeah, very well, mate. What do you want to say?
How are you doing, guys? I just want to echo what you lot were just pretty much talking about this morning right there. I think we're not going to sign anyone in January, first of all. I think the only signings we will make will be the players who are due to leave in the summer on the free, just their contracts. Ideally, I'd like to think, there's going to be a mass clear out in the summer when we have a new manager. And this is just thinking in a positive motion, because I think we all expect Jose Mourinho not to be the manager at the start of next season. So tie some of these players down, let Mourinho just do whatever he's doing with them. The new manager comes in, gets rid of a lot of these players out. Ideally, Smalling on 120 grand though. No club is really going to be paying that. We might have to flog him off to China or something, which again is not really going to happen. But my point is that, I don't think. I spoke to you a couple of weeks ago, and I said, he didn't really get the funds in the summer. I don't really think he's going to be getting the funds in January. I think the board pretty much know he's going to have this year, and then he will wait till summer. Or they will wait till summer to get rid of him, or there'll be an agreement, a settlement of some kind. A new manager will come in, will get all the funds that have been saved, hopefully, this January and last summer. I was talking to the guy before, and he was asking me about Mourinho when he was at Chelsea and the summer transfer targets, and he got all of his transfer targets in pretty much at the start of most windows. Even when he came back to Chelsea, he wanted Costa, Fabregas, Matic. I think there was maybe a defender there. They all were players that you could see connected with each other. They combined with each other. Just on the phone, Mumsy.
Hello, Mumsy.
Get her on, see what she thinks about Mourinho.
And so I think already, he's not going to have the power to sign players. So it's either going to be about those players signing contracts. If they don't want to sign a contract, maybe we sell those players on. I agree with Gaz as well. I think Phil Jones is definitely staying, and they looks like he's gone. I know some of you said it's a big problem, but Bay's not played for the last 10 games. I think we've all kind of concluded that he's not going to be part of Mourinho's plans for the rest of the season. He seems to be going with Lindelof, who he had a tough start. I remember the Huddersfield game last season. That was a very, very tough start. But since then, he's shown some good composure on the ball. He hasn't made the same kind of mistakes. He's not completely there yet, but again, he's young. You might think under a new manager, they might get a new lease of life. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of Lindelof. Rojo, he's not been a Man United player for about a year and a half now. What's he been doing? And the reason why I think we're not going to sell we're not going to buy anyone, I think we've actually just got too many players. I think if you look at our attacking players, we haven't got one natural winger, which is a problem. And for us to bring in one natural winger, we've got to get rid of one of these number 10s or one of these forwards. And Rashford and Martial, they're the good boys. Pogba,
the good players.
It's very hard. I can see, and this is a wild card. I can see some truth in maybe Alexis Sanchez leaving. It's been a very hard year for him. He's
could be on his way up. Tim, thank you very much for your call, mate. Some smashing points.
Appreciate it, Tim.
Some min points there from Tim. Any comments coming in?
Yeah, there's a good comment. I just can't find the person who wrote it, so I'm sorry I can't credit you, but someone's mentioned that Eric Bailly hasn't played because he's mentally not been there since the Brighton game, where obviously he did have an absolute shocker, and someone's trying to say that is justification for Eric Bailly not playing in so long. But that was one game where he had, admittedly, a horrendous match. But how many times have players like Nemanja Matic been
I don't think
dreadful?
This is anything to do with football. I genuinely don't.
What do you think it's to do with?
I think something's happened because, hold on, you're telling me Eric Bailly Eric Bailly is not better than Smalling, not better than Lindelof, not better than all those players. Even with those mistakes that he's made. He's got more credit in the bank from last season than those players do. So why wouldn't he be put back in at some point? It's daft.
We're going to have to take a quick break. We want to go down the line of centre-backs in our question that we want you to discuss on YouTube whilst we go for a break. And also get in touch, 87711 on Excess Manchester.
Like
as Adam shuffles his files. Right, a lot of transfer debate about centre-backs, but we want to know your all-time favourite centre-half for Manchester United. Who is our greatest centre-back of all time? We'll be discussing your opinions. Get your comments in, and we'll be right back after this.
This is the Manchester Football Social. Full-time Devils takeover.
We're back, and Joe's put my mic on this time. He's finally doing his job.
Thank you very much. I'm here all week.
This is the FTD fan phone in Excess Manchester. I'm Adam McCullough. We're here with Joe and Gaz. We got loads to talk about. And before we went to the break, we had a question, Joe.
Yes, it was the greatest centre-back that's ever been at the club. I want people to comment and text 87711. Debate stirred in the... I completely didn't know what was happening in the studio. Yours is Rio, and Gaz, what have you gone for?
Right.
Here we go.
Growing up, because when I was a kid, I was more into like the sort of the almost bloody side of defending.
Same.
Vidic.
I like the Vidic. First player I ever got on my shirt.
He's my brother's favourite player as well.
Is he?
Keem loves Vidic.
What people saying on YouTube?
Yeah, obviously, as we can imagine, a lot of shouts for Rio and Vidic. One player who probably isn't getting as many shouts as he deserves. Wes Brown.
Yeah.
Wes Brown. I know he played right back.
Wes Brown better than Vidic.
Friends of Oud Kind says Pallister or Duncan Edwards. Duncan Edwards, obviously, what an absolute legend. However, I don't really think you can class him in one position because I think he played all over the pitch, to be honest, Duncan Edwards. But great shout there. David May. So, Ack Game says Wes Brown and David May were the best centre-backs as they defended well in the 90s.
Wes Brown was so underrated. If Wes Brown never got injured, Vidic and Rio would never have been a thing.
And another one for John O'Shea, another player who played all over the park really at times.
Love John O'Shea.
I love seeing a John O'Shea hook pass down the line.
Oh.
And just one more comment, Tyler Blackett.
Right, we got like 4 callers we need to get through before we do a little preview of Palace.
There's a clip of me somewhere on the internet.
Oh yeah? I've seen that one. Oh, not that one.
Saying Tyler Blackett could potentially become a league-winning defender.
Oh, he's one of the worst players I've ever seen at United.
Let's go to Abdul on line 1.
Yes,
Hello, Abdul. You well, mate?
Yes, mate. You all right?
Yes, Abdul. How's it going, bruv?
Is this Abdullah?
Yes.
Is it Abdullah?
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Sorry for keeping you on the phone for so long, mate.
No, don't say sorry. You don't get special treatment.
Sorry, Abdul.
I'm bored at work anyway, so I said I might.
Don't you work for Statman Dave?
No, not today.
Cleans the box. Go on, Abdul. What do you want to say, mate?
I've just heard you guys. I was going to speak a bit about Smalling's contract, and obviously, best centre back at United ever. It's got to be Rio.
Rio.
In my lifetime, man, especially like when you go back to like Barca away or 07, I think it 07-08, that was like such a clean performance from him. He does the dirty side of things and he's brilliant on the ball. Like his all-round games.
Adam was trying to tell me that he is heads and shoulders above Vidic, Rio.
Yeah,
I personally disagree.
Rio makes defending look easy. Vidic and Terry and them make it look hard. And that's why they get more ratings, because passion merchants like you, Gaz.
Vidic did the hard bit so Rio could do the classy bit.
I still think Vidic read the game pretty well. I just think, obviously, I think with Vidic you need to partner him with someone. It's like with us right now with like Bailly and that. Like I'm not too sure Bailly can partner anyone we have right now. I think him and Lindelof could work, but we're not too sure on the physical sense between them two. Like Vidic is the same thing. Like Rio, I think he can stick him with anyone and he'll stand out. So, and I want to speak as well about the contract thing. Like what shocked me this morning reading about the Smalling, what's going on with Smalling. It doesn't even shock me anymore. But it's like we don't learn from our lessons where we're renewing these contracts at a higher wage, so we can't get rid of these players. Now we're stuck with the likes of Darmian. So it's just frustrating to see that they were going through that list of players that should be walking out the door, and it's almost like no one actually knows what they're doing at the club. We're not trying to, keep Herrera or obviously I don't know what's going on with Herrera, but I don't feel like there's as much as an effort with some of the other players as there is with Young or Valencia, and some of those players could be here for 2-3 years. Like Herrera, like I said on the show last night, I said obviously he can hold that number 6 position if the right manager walks in, and I think he's got gathered the right amount of experience. But it's just so frustrating to see us obviously just dashing out contracts like this, and then we're stuck with these players like Darmian now, because you got to get a bit of value out of him. In January, we don't even know what's going to happen with him because he's not playing, and you're paying him, I don't know, 100k a week or whatever, because he got a pretty hefty contract when he first joined.
Abdullah, who's making these decisions to actually sign these new contracts? Who's actually putting them the players' way?
I feel like whoever's controlling them isn't looking into how a football club should be run, especially like the way everything's changed around us. It's just an absolute mess, man. Like, you can stick any of us in a job like that, and some players, you'll always have your favourites and all of that, but some players are clearly not good enough. Like, you've got people who'll tell you, like Ashley Young, you know, he played 10 out of 10 today, he smashed it, put in an effort, but they'll still tell you at the end of the summer he should be gone. I don't feel like people at the club, we've got anyone like that realises who's good enough, who's not, and it's just so frustrating.
Yo, Abdullah, before we got to cut you short, sorry, bro. Listen, before you go, can you answer one question for me?
Go on.
What was Patrice Evra doing to that turkey?
I don't know, man. I love Uncle Pat, but that was disgusting.
That was disgusting, Abdul Fatain.
Too far.
Thank you very much for your call, Abdul. Right, we've got 6 minutes and we've got 3 callers. Let's get Brandon on.
Loads. I feel like I'm all over the place here.
I've got you. Brandon, hello, mate. Full-time Devils. What do you want to say?
I'm hoping we just can get rid of most of the centre-backs we've got. They're too old.
Wow, that was rapid. Get rid of most of the centre-backs. They're too old.
They are. Most of them, like, Smalling, not a bad defender at all, but absolutely shocking when he's making fouls and getting penalties away.
Yeah, who else? Jones?
Yeah, get rid of Jones because he got a goal against Tottenham last season.
Yeah, that was awful.
What about Bailly Lindelof? Do you like any of them?
Lindelof and Bailly, best defenders I've known.
Right, well, Brandon.
He's like quality up ball.
Yeah.
And Lindelof, when he's in defence, he's like, when we played Manchester City away, you thought, chuffing over, we're not going to I'm a dear, but we did.
Brandon, you mentioned Golding. Do you think Golding could be the answer to our defensive problems?
Yeah. There you go, Golding from Madrid, banging.
Yeah, buying. Brandon, thank you very much for your call. It's simple as that. What are YouTube comments saying before we go to James from Hume?
There's been a lot of shouts for Koulibaly again, and then another new name for Skriniar, I believe, and I'm nearly guessing it. I want to say Inter Milan. I want to say Inter Milan, definitely from Italy. Anyway, he's a young defender, so I feel like we need someone with more experience.
I love Gaz.
I love Gaz.
Gaz had his Wikipedia up now.
I'm
guessing
the word.
Am I right?
Inter Milan.
I'm getting the word.
While he reads it.
Let's go to James.
You was about to say what you was about to say there. We would have got chopped off the radio. Even though there's loads on the radio.
You finish the sentence for me. James from Hume, how you doing, mate?
I was right.
You're right, fellas.
Yeah, I'm good, mate. What do you want to say, boss?
I want to talk about our transfer policy. I just think it's so flawed compared to all the rest of the clubs. Like, I look at our defensive line. I don't know how we've still got Darmian, Jones, Rowe, and then we've got players like Fusi Mensah on loan. We've got Axel Tuanzebe. We got rid of Daley Blind. You look at the midfield, we've got Fellaini, Matic, Herrera. They all do the same job, but I'd say Herrera's probably he's the only one who can pass the ball that well. Matic, when he's fit, is decent, but he can't be playing every week. Fellaini, I think he's a good impact sub, but then when I look, we bought Fred. What was the point of buying Fred? We brought back Pereira. Pereira's decent, but we're not playing him. We've got Mata. We're not playing him, and it's just like, if Pogba doesn't play, we're not going to win. And then you look at the forward line as well. Like, we've got some really good players, but they all do the same job. Like Jesse Lingard, rate him. Rashford, rate him. Martial, rate him. Sanchez, we know he's a world-class player, but he's not doing bits at the moment. But if you actually label them, we're like, they all do the same job. We're signing the same players, and we're getting rid of players that might have actually benefited us, and it's just like, we're meant to improve what we do. Literally, what are we doing?
What are we doing, James? Thank you for your call. We have to cut.
Sorry, guys, if we're rushing you here because We got one last caller to go. We
Ollie,
got less than 2.5 minutes.
James, top man for your call, James.
Get your thoughts in, but similar thoughts. He thinks youth instead of signings.
Hello, Ollie.
Hi, I just wanted to say that I feel like we should wait till summer and then look at the youth players that come back from loan that are graduating through the system instead of rushing into signings that are just really to sort of make the perception of the club's going in a better direction. We just wait, we get youth and look at Fossey Mensah is athletic, tall and strong, so he's like Mourinho's perfect player and as a 6, so it blows my mind that he's not at the club right now. And Axel to be well, he's playing weird, he's playing proper well at Aston Villa. I've watched him a few times, he's playing proper well.
About to say Villa fans online raving about Axel.
Thank you very much for your call, Ali. Sorry I had to cut you there.
He's got some good points.
I do like that though, because Manchester United, we have always been a club that make Galacticos, not sign Galacticos, and we need to get back to doing that, don't we, guys?
Yes, we do. Minute 30 left.
I do in a sense.
That's all on you.
In a sense, right? I know what you're saying there, right? And I know that, you know, we shouldn't be a team that goes out and buys Galacticos, but you look at the squad at the minute and where we are lacking. We've already got quite a young team. We need experience in that team. We need
in certain positions.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't want to see us going out and buying a 21, 23-year-old centre-half, though. I want to see, you know, a player who's been around.
At centre-half, we are lacking that experience.
We cannot have a young centre-half coming in. Not against Bailly. Not alongside Bailly, who can be a maniac when he wants to be.
Smalling's 29.
What?
He's old. He's old.
He's experienced centre-half, leading us
That's all right there, Adam. Right, Crystal Palace. Let's do a quick preview. We've got 45 seconds. Then I've got a turkey at home waiting for me.
I'm never eating turkey again. I reckon score Crystal Palace 3-1. 2-1.
What do you mean to Palace?
No, 2-1. 2-1. I'm
2-0 United, and Anthony Martial's going to score for a 6th consecutive league game, equaling a record set by Cantona, Rooney, and Ronaldo, and Van Nistelrooy.
Well, that is our journey over, boys. Thank you very much for giving us a call. We've got to go. Gaz, wonderful as always. Adam, thank you very much. Get the podcast if you missed any of it.
Was I not wonderful?
I said, Adam, you were wonderful. And the final word goes to yourself.
This is Full Time Devils.